I don't know about you, but often I'll meet friends for coffee or meet up with people. And if you say, how are you? More than likely they'll say, I'm shattered, I'm worn out, I'm stressed. That's sort of the general thing that people say. So I've come to the conclusion we're not getting enough rest. Now, rest, the definition of rest, hopefully, it's to cease work or movement in order to relax, sleep, or recover. Or simply put, be at ease. And that's what rest is. And I'm going to look briefly at 3 different types of rest. I'm going to look at physical rest, mental rest, and spiritual rest. So, what's the problem if we don't get rest? What's the consequences? Well, some of the things are strained relationships, impaired memory, lack of alertness, and accidents. Now, these accidents might be something simple, you drop a cup. Or you might be out in the car and you're tired, and that could have more dire consequences. It also leads to physical problems, headaches, dizziness, nausea. You're more likely to get other ailments. It also can shorten your lifespan, so that's quite important as well, isn't it? Mental health, anxiety, depression, all of these things if we don't have enough rest. So why do we not get enough rest? What's happening? We've got more and more going on in our lives. Things have become more competitive. When I was working, everything became target-driven. You had to be better every year. Didn't matter what you'd done the year before, the next year you had to be better. They would come and observe you. They would change the systems. And you always had to try and get that grade 1. Nothing else would do. We want the best, don't we? We want the best holiday. We want a nice house. We want a new furniture. We're continually wanting new things. And there's this busy life that we just try to get things. But what does the Bible say about this? In Romans 12, verse 2, do not conform to the world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. So we need our mind to rest now and then, to be renewed. So the first thing we look at is sleep. Physical rest, the most obvious thing, sleep. Now, it was a couple of weeks back, there was a programme on about bed making. Don't know if anybody saw that. And you saw all the individual springs, the different layers. And beds now, you can get the most comfortable beds in the world. But sometimes we still have a problem with sleep. Why do we have such a problem? Sometimes we eat too much on a night, drink too much, watch too much TV. We tend to watch everything in box sets now. And we'll just watch 10 minutes of the next one. And then, we might as well watch the end of it. And then what happens? You go to bed and you think, I'll just have a look and see what the weather's going to be like. And then you think, while I'm on, I'll see if I've got any likes on Facebook. Now, you can see the people who's done this, can't you? And then, I didn't get many likes for that. So you scroll down a bit. I don't like what he said there. I'm going to tell him what I think. Scroll down a bit more. Oh no, that's a good one. I'll share that. That'll get me some likes. So then you think, right, I think I'll go to sleep now. Half an hour later, back on Facebook, I can't get to sleep. Don't know how many people during the night are on Facebook saying they can't sleep. So that's some of the problems. Now that picture there is a sculpture in Amsterdam, and it's called Addiction. And I think there's a lot of people now have become addicted to being on the phones. Sometimes what we've got to do is learn to press that pause button and stop. Maybe then we'll have some sleep. The next one that we're going to look at is our mental rest. Constant mental work numbs us for our need for God. If we keep being busy and active, we don't have time to stop and think, we can forget what the really important things are. So think about taking some mental rest. Now, this might be going for a walk. It might be sitting just having a cup of coffee. It might be just sitting daydreaming. But we need to sort of have times in the day where we just switch off. And there's times as well that we might want to do mental activity, but a different type. You know, if you've been stressed out at work, do something else. But what I advise is if you want to do something for fun, for mental activities, if it stresses you out, stop doing it. If you're trying to knit and you're getting a knot, maybe try something else. If you do Sudoku and that stresses you out, find something else. But there's so many people, it's like, I will do it. And, you know, if it's a leisure activity, it doesn't really matter that much. So mental health, mental rest is important as well. Rest is a gift we too easily push aside. When we take a rest, we're in good company. Genesis 2 verse 3 said, "So God blessed the seventh day and made it holy, because in it God rested from all his work that he had done in creation." So mental rest is needed. Mental rest is a gift. And it also, if we have a rest, then that helps us to concentrate better later on. So the last one that we're looking at is spiritual rest. "But those who wait upon the Lord shall renew their strength." Now, spiritual rest doesn't mean having a lie-in on a Sunday morning. And I'm sure some people think that, isn't it? I'll have a rest this Sunday, I won't go to church. But it means coming to church and finding rest in church. You know, when you come into church, hopefully we're going to learn something that'll help us. We're going to take something away that'll help us through the week and the problems in the week. Resting in God means spending time in his presence, reminding ourselves of what he has done for us and the promises he's going to fulfill. And that could be in daily prayer, Bible readings, listening to worship music. It's all different ways, but we can find rest in doing these things. The definition of restoration is the act of returning something to its former owner, place, or condition. Turning something battered and worn into something beautiful that can be used again. Now, I'm going to say that last bit again because I think that is really important. Turning something battered and worn into something beautiful that can be used again. So having spiritual rest, getting our mind back focused on God, repairs us to be used again for something. So you are a child of God. Sorry, I've gone the wrong bit. Being restored in God. The first bit is putting your burdens on God. Release your burdens. You know, it's no use in saying, right, there's my burdens, but I want to keep them here as well. I was once told, you know, to imagine some of your burdens on your shoulders and you take them off and you visually see them being taken off and put them on a pack horse. And as they come off, you feel lighter and you can see them all built up on the pack horse. And, you know, that's what we can do. We can release our burdens. "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." The second way we can be restored in God is, remember, we are a child of God. Our true identity is in him. And if you think about that, no matter what happens in your life, God knows about it. He knows everything that happens before it happens, and he knows you can cope with it. So remember who you are. The third one is surrender your will. If we walk in God's path, we can rest assured he will guide us in the way that is best for our lives. He's our shepherd. He leads us beside still waters. He restores our soul. Now, I always thought this about, leading through the passages and things is like a physical, you're going out for the day and you feel so much better, don't you? You've been out in the country and you feel better. But restoring our soul is through his word, through being reminded about who we are and where we are with God. So the last one is to trust in God. Worry doesn't empty us of our troubles, but saps us of the strength that we need to get through them. So put our trust in God. In all our ways, acknowledge him, and he'll direct our paths. So if we try again and remember that wherever we go, put our trust in God and he'll direct us in the way that we go on. A final thought is, before you end up resting in peace, try to find some peace in rest.